Hey, what's up, people? Welcome back to the Over in 8 Minutes podcast. This week, we're doing a bit of TLC. We're getting some tidying up done because I've had it in the messages, I've had it in the DMs, I've had it in the requests. Everybody going, you keep saying episode 1 was Callum Sirker, but episode 1 was George Taylor. I know there was a lot of changes. We had to get it redone. I wanted to make sure Callum could get his story across, make sure it sounded really great. So today we're doing it. We've got Callum Sirker, England Sevens, England Camps, Wasps Rugby, now playing for the Cornish Pirates, one of the nicest people I've ever had the pleasure of having a conversation with, so I'm buzzing that I get to do it twice. Callum Sirker, how are you, sir? Welcome to the podcast.
I'm very well, thank you, Sam. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, and I'm glad we're doing it a second time.
Mate, I'm looking forward to it, and like I said before we came on air, I actually sound a bit more confident this time and not like a crying child trying to get through it, so I'm really looking forward to this one. Before we get started, guys, I actually have a brand new partner helping me with the podcast. Their name is Wild Haggis Protein. Find them on the internet, find them on Instagram. They're a protein company. They also have their own set of leggings. They have fitness wear, exclusive women's ranges, pre-workout. It's all there. It's really good. I actually contacted them. That's how much I believe in this company, because I was using them long before I started this podcast. Back when I was playing rugby, they were the people they would go to. Reasonably priced, Scottish company. If you know anything about Scottish people, they're made of fucking granite and anger, so they're the best people to get protein from. Yeah, Wild Haggis, if you want 10% off, use code OVERIN80 at the checkout, and that gets you a tasty bit of meal off as well. Right, into the podcast. Here we go. Cal Sirker, how are you?
Yeah, good, mate. Yeah, just cracking on. Beautiful Cornwall now. Block 2 started today, pre-season. So, yeah, grafting hard. And not long till we've got our first few pre-season games, and then into the season, into a fully fledged long season again after COVID. So yeah, pretty excited.
And normal season's on the cards, is it?
Yeah. So I think it's like 22, 23 games or something like that, which is, you had the COVID season, which was, pretty shortened in the championship. So obviously I wasn't involved in last year, but now I am. So boys are looking forward to, home and away games again and getting on the bus, which is a massive thing in Cornwall. Obviously on the bus a fair bit, so now looking forward to it.
He bevy buses even for the home games. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
mate, we're going to get on to that because I want to talk all about Pirates, because obviously captain coach Matty Jess had something to do with it. He's a good friend of ours. Yeah. But we're going to get started. Quick fire questions. Last time you were here, it was a bit of a short and sweet. Now it's got a proper section. So we've got quick fire questions with Callum Sirker, and it's just same as last time. First answer that comes into your head, it's a this or that, or it's a would you rather type thing. Easy as pie. Yeah. If you say anything questionable, I'm sure Instagram will call you out. All the boys will have a look at it.
Yeah.
Right, mate. Tea or coffee?
Tea.
Night out or a night in?
Night out.
Oof. Score a try or make a try, save and tackle? You're a winger, so I know the answer to this already.
Score a try.
Yours should be score 3 or score 4. That's what it should be. If you had to get rid of one tomorrow, would you get rid of rugby or would you get rid of dogs?
Wow. Get rid of dogs. My missus is going to kill me, but yeah, get rid of dogs.
Mate, Hannah Smith says she'd get rid of rugby and she's an Olympian.
Yeah, that is a tough one, but I mean, I've never had a dog in the family, and so I do love. That's a huge one. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Right, well, he's getting rid of dogs now. Sweets or chocolate?
Sweets.
Nice. Movies or TV series?
Movies.
What's your favorite movie of all time?
That is a good question.
If you've got a few, go for a few.
Favorite movie? I love Pulp Fiction, which is probably a cliche. Everyone says that. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was brilliant.
I didn't like it. I did not like it.
Oh, really? Well, anything Quentin Tarantino, I love.
I can normally get on board with that, to be fair. Like Django Unchained and stuff like that.
Incredible, yeah. Yeah, really good.
Sevens or 15s?
15s, playing it now, aren't I?
Yes, Jesse, you're listening. That's the one.
Yeah.
Right. Bath or a shower if you're having one to relax?
Shower.
Really? Not a bath man? Not like bath bomb candle?
I like a bath, but I always get out of the bath and get in the shower afterwards. I feel like if you're dirty and you get in a bath, you're just bathing in your own dirty water.
Yeah, no, never. You have to be clean into the bath, yeah.
I'm pretty OCD with it as well, so.
How would you get your steak cooked?
Medium rare.
Nice. Right, club or a pub for a night out?
Club.
Arms day or legs day?
Legs.
Are you more likely to FaceTime somebody or text them?
Text them.
Oh, see, nah. Right, the one that came back with reckless abandon because everybody questioned it in the DMs because I mentioned it in the trailer. Bourbons or custard creams?
Custard creams.
Oh, man, why does everybody say custard creams, man? Bourbon's the best. Sweet or salted popcorn?
Sweet.
Correct. Would you rather be a ninja or a pirate?
Ninja.
Mate, I'm going to give you a chance to check your answer.
No, ninja. I've actually, reason why, I watched Matrix recently, and that's it. Yeah.
You're already a pirate, so you can be a ninja and a pirate.
Yeah. Well, oh my. Yeah. Take that. I'm a pirate. Yeah, pirate, of course. Yeah. The thing is, I'm already a pirate. Exactly. So I'm just trying out new.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Exactly.
You're just set for Halloween. You've just got an abundance of
that totally went over my head. I didn't. There you went. Oh, what do you mean? Have another go at it. Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Mate, I didn't even clock it. I just and I went, oh, that's a really good question. Actually, you've done.
Yeah. Obviously, I should have said pirate, but there you go.
Right, final one of the quick fire questions: socks and sliders, yes or no?
Yes.
100%. See, that's a rugby thing. Everybody I speak to that's not rugby is like, no, that's a crime, and everybody who plays rugby is like, yes.
I think anyone that plays sport really wears socks. I see football players doing it all the time. I see athletes from any sport; they always pair socks. It's like it's comfy, it's easy because I think for any sportsman, you go from your sliders into your weightlifting shoes or your boots or your spikes or whatever. So
yeah, it's exactly
easy transition.
Well, that was quick fire questions with Callum Sirker. There you go. See, it catches you off guard. Half the questions you don't think about, and then like they're like you hear other people go through them, and you're like, "This is really straightforward." I don't know how. And as soon as somebody puts them on you, you're like, "Oh no, people are valuing my opinion in these now."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Well, quick fire questions with Callum Sirker done and dusted. Anyway, mate, so we're going to get into the rugby a bit later, but first of all, we're going to talk about you, Callum Sirker, the person. I want to talk about your book page, your forwards and paperbacks, because I think that's a really good thing that you do for actually encouraging young athletes to read. Because I know myself, I was quite bad when I was younger for not picking up a book. I was quite bad for going to training and then just relaxing and chilling in front of the telly before bed and school the next day and things like that. So tell us a bit about forwards and paperbacks. How did you come about that?
Yeah, so I think forwards and paperbacks came about. I'm always been an avid reader. I definitely became more of an avid reader through lockdown and through my injury, through my knee injury. So I spent a lot of time out of the game, and I just wanted something to do. I wanted to not only develop myself physically, but also mentally, in not just people say they want to be more resilient, but I wanted to be more knowledgeable. I wanted to be more mindful. I wanted to broaden my horizon, so to speak, the cliche term. So, I was having a conversation with my old man, and I said, I don't just want to read. I want to kind of, make it a hobby and then spread the word about books that I read. And a lot of the books that I read are relatable to other athletes, to young people. And I think the books that I read are books that other young people should read. And he said, well, why don't you do something on social media, go on Instagram and make a page. You've seen other people do it. So I thought, yeah, why not? So I started forwards and paperbacks, and I thought I put a bit of effort in it. So I got, someone to do the little logo and stuff. And ever since then, I've just been reading, and I've really been enjoying my reading. And then, doing the reviews has been, really easy and, really enjoyable. And then I've had some really good feedback from it. I've had people say, I'm going to read that now. I've had, suggestions and recommendations on what to read next. And I've really enjoyed it. I think at the moment, if you looked at my page now, it's pretty, I haven't uploaded a book in a while. And that's because I'm starting law school in September. So I've been pretty busy with that.
You'll have plenty of books there anyways.
Yeah, plenty of books to read there. I don't know if the book people that are going to want to see the reviews of those books, but yeah, so I'm starting law school in September online and part-time. So I've been really busy with that, making sure that's all sorted. So I haven't actually had a space to read, which is a pretty bad excuse coming from me, who kind of encourages people to find any time to read. But I will get back on it, and I will start reviewing some more books. I've actually got, you can see in the background, a stack of books that I haven't read yet, that I've kind of searched for and been recommended. And every time I get a book recommended, which I really encourage through DMs via the page, I put them on the list and I buy them and I read them. That's usually what I do. And then, and then people comment and their reviews. It's brilliant. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. So yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy it because me and you, we messaged a few times. I think we were discussing the book Bounce. I can never remember the author, but we were discussing it, and it's all about chance.
Matthew Saeed, his name is, I think it.
Is it? Do you? I never remember the author, but I remember reading it, and I remember my brother reading it and telling me about it because I mentioned it to you. And I think like there's so, like you said, there's so many books that you don't come from an athletic background which are relatable.
100%, 100%, and obviously, Bounce is a brilliant book. You know, the 10,000 hour rule that he talks about in that book, which, you know, take that with a pinch of salt. I would say to people, I don't want young people around the place starting their clock for 10,000 hours and counting it down and passing the ball against the wall for 10,000 hours. So I think their parents would probably kill them. But there's definitely other ways of doing it. There's definitely books out there that just aren't sport related at all that you can really relate to. If you look at my page, I don't want to keep plugging it, but there's books that just you really wouldn't understand. I think there's lessons in books like I read Death of a Salesman, which is a play, and that was just brilliant. I really enjoyed it, and it also had a deeper meaning in it, a deeper story. I don't want to give it away, but things to learn from, and these we learn in, you know, people, young lads, young girls that are sportsmen or not sportsmen or not athletes, thinking, what does he mean there's deeper lessons to learn moving forward? Well, read it and you'll find out.
Yeah, so there we go. What a plug that is.
There you go.
The author of Death of a Salesman, or the writer of Death of a Salesman, now owes you a cheeky bit of cut as well when he gets when all 8 of my listeners go, I'll give that book a go. I promise I have more than that. You're not wasting
definitely probably more than that.
Oh, it's not. We're not quite famous yet. We're going, but we're getting there.
Yeah,
mate. What 3 books would you recommend to somebody, not even particularly a young athlete, but say like a young person, like you said, so Death of a Salesman, maybe, or?
Yes, I'd say obviously Death of a Salesman. Wow, I've had a fair few.
What was the one we discussed? It was the one with the Michael Jordan's old coach, 7 Rings.
Yeah, so I read Phil Jackson's 11 Rings, which was brilliant. Yeah, definitely recommend that.
7 Rings, that's from Lord of the Rings. Sorry, I'm reading the Lord of the Rings book at the moment, so that's where I've got 7 Rings.
So 11 Rings, it's a brilliant book, and that's kind of gives you an idea of how he managed certain people's egos. Obviously, having people like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, these people obviously are the best at what they do, but with that comes some sort of ego where they want to do it their way, and he's got to allow them to express themselves, but also, you know, fill in a team and be leaders. And especially a lot of these players, especially people like Kobe at the time, obviously, you know, God rest his soul, he didn't know how to be a leader, and basically Phil allowed him to become that person. People obviously looked up to him, but he didn't see it. And allowing the way he worked was he allowed Kobe to see that, and then he realized how valuable he was. And that's, I mean, I'm not giving enough away here, so definitely read it. That's an important book to read. And I think another book I would trying to look at my books here. I've got so many that I've read that I actually didn't bring them up to Cornwall because I've read so many, too many to bring.
Well, yeah.
Another book I would suggest reading would be Atomic Habits.
Yeah.
By James Clear. Now everyone raves about it, but it's brilliant. I don't want to give any away because you can't.
I'm secretly writing these down because I've not read that one. So
so that's one I can't really give anything away there. You just have to read it. It's brilliant. And that's really it. I think those are my recommendations. I think there's such a varied. Death of a Salesman is completely the other side of Atomic Habits, but it just has meaning in it. And you know, you've got authors like Albert Camus who does kind of is completely out there, completely different. Yeah. But I suggest reading anything that he's written. He's brilliant, sensational. So yeah, if I could give my advice would be just read anything and everything. Just read anything and everything. Broaden your horizons. Gain knowledge on anything. And if you read something, then there's a film about it or there's a documentary about it. Add them together. Definitely read the book first before you watch the movie because it'll ruin the book. But just immerse yourself in it.
No, I couldn't agree more. I've been trying to up my reading I think it really benefits not just like the vocabulary, but the way like you were saying, it almost benefits the way you look on life as well. I think when you get so many different perspectives.
100%, and it allows you to just have a little bit more empathy to people's situations. I certainly read books that are based around people's personal struggles. I read a book called The Windrush Betrayal, which is obviously a famous part of history that most people know about. And that was a pretty tough read in terms of people's personal struggles, but it allowed me to understand not only the history, but what these people went through. And that kind of made me not only more educated, but more empathetic to their situations. And now I kind of understand that when I see kind of in the House of Commons them still talking about it, I totally understand why they're still talking about it and why justice needs to be served.
I tell you what, have you ever read? Do you remember? There's like it was like Secret Life of a Junior Doctor, and it was This Is Going to Hurt, and it was him telling all his stories from.
Yes, Adam McKay is his name.
Yeah, Adam McKay. Have you read his Thank You to the NHS one?
Not yet, no.
It's really good. So what he does is he gets a bunch of because obviously his book went like famous, like New York Times bestseller, bestseller in England as well because of the stories he had. So what he did as a thank you to the NHS when COVID started, he got all his celebrity friends. Yeah. So the way he described it was he sent out wedding invitations to everybody he knew, his publisher knew, expecting to get like a third of them back of like stories they have from the NHS. And he said he's got so much he might have to make a second book of it because he got that many replies.
He's actually on my list to read actually, and because another thing is like I've got obviously close family that work in the NHS and stuff, and family and friends. So you hear some of their stories and you just have to read about it. So yeah, he's definitely on the list to read. And another book,
they're so good. They're so good.
Yeah, I need to. And another book I definitely would plug because it's definitely my favorite. I can't believe I forgot it. Is a book called Natives by Akala.
Yes, we discussed him last time. Yeah, Akala, he's brilliant.
He's absolutely sensational. And the book, I think, for any young person who wants to understand more about the world they live in at the moment and the country they live in terms of England and the British Empire and racism throughout the decades, definitely Akala's book. He's just sensational, and he also not only gives you educational background, but combines it with his own experiences. It's just a sensational book. So I think anyone growing up should definitely read that.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. Did you ever see it was I think it was one of those those Facebook videos that creep up out of nowhere, and it was him on a sort of talk show, and he was describing the Middle East and how it's responsible for like maths and language and things like that. It's never discussed when people discuss the Middle East in Britain.
Exactly. Yeah. No. Yeah. I've seen that video as well, and he comes up on videos of him like kind of going against Tommy Robinson of the EDL and all of that. He's obviously so articulate, and he's a genius. He is a genius. And there's another kind of interview you can watch where he gets interviewed by James O'Brien from LBC, which is it's an incredible interview. I think it's like an hour and a half, something like that. And James O'Brien is a very, very smart man, and Akala, James O'Brien's having to stop him and slow him down because he's so incredibly smart that James O'Brien's having to take time to kind of process everything that he's saying, and it's a brilliant interview. So I'd encourage people to watch that as well.
No, I find there's like a separate plane of people that can talk so eloquently. It is almost like a science.
100%.
I find have you ever listened to the comedian Tim Minchin?
Yeah, the Australian. Is he Australian?
Yeah, he's Australian. Yeah. He's famous for his songs, and his songs are hilarious. Yeah. But I could go and listen to him talk, and like not even try to be funny. Just the way he has an outlook on life is unbelievable, and just. And
probably these people are very well read as well, so they've read a lot, and exactly. I read because of the amount they've read. Their vocabulary has expanded. They've become more eloquent. And I know for a fact that Akala has read a lot. That's what I know. So yeah.
Oh, forgot to mention quickly back on. So we're talking about Phil Jackson. Did you ever watch on Netflix A Coach's Rule for Life?
I never watched that. Obviously, I watched everything. Everyone's watched
The Last Dance, or whatever. Yeah, The Last Dance. Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. And I've not seen that. No.
Mate, it's really so. The first episode is another basketball coach. He's called Doc Rivers. He was the coach of the Boston Celtics when they had their big team. They had their like superstar team. Yeah. And he talks all about, and this I don't know if you maybe heard it. It's called Ubuntu. And he took it from Africa during like the genocide and the problems Africa was having. And I think like late 90s, early 90s. My history's not. I'm really sorry if that's wrong. I tried to, but so he talks all about that, and he talks about how because he had effectively the best players in the world all in one team. He's like, well, I'm not here to coach them how to play basketball. They know how to play basketball. I'm here to turn them into the team. And then he taught them this philosophy, which is like Ubuntu, and it's like, it basically translates into. I say basically translates. I'll probably paraphrase it and butcher it, but it's like I am what I am because of you. So it's like I'm only as good as my competitor. I'm only as good as my friends. Like my friends make me what I am. So it's like how he taught them all to believe in each other, and it was a very interesting to see how he took such a very wide, expansive topic from such a sad situation, but managed to channel it into such a specific thing. I'm really probably not doing it justice, so you really should go and watch it. It's only like 40 minutes long. It's an episode, but it's a good thing to watch before you go to sleep.
No, 100%. It's on the list. It's on the list. I'm that's right on my street. So yeah, definitely.
It's really good. And then like I remember we were talking the other day. I really like basketball, so that's what drew me in. But that's the part that stuck. Like we're saying, that's the part that stuck with me. Like the basketball stuff was kind of just. Exactly. They won some championships. Cool. But that's the part that stuck with me.
No, exactly, 100%. No, cool.
Amazing. What we can talk? You've been watching the Olympics?
Yeah, I have been watching it. I love the Olympics every year. It's tough because obviously the timing's a bit tough.
Yeah.
But I have been one of those guys on my weekends that's been getting up at 3 a.m. to watch certain events, and so yeah, I have been. Yeah.
Mate, what have you been thinking about? Because all I've watched and all I've thought the whole time I've done it is we do not put these like sports on a high enough pedestal.
Yeah, I mean it's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's all the sports that go on are incredible. I was watching table tennis the other day, and I was like, this is mental, like how they're doing that.
That and badminton, how crazy!
Yeah, badminton, especially the doubles, because it's like you have you have no time to react because they're just smacking it on you.
Yeah.
Man, I love it all. So I watched the sevens, which was really good. I watched the men and the women's.
Heartbreaking, but so good.
Yeah, tough for GB, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
A few of those, the men, obviously, I've got more of a connection with the men because I played with nearly all of them.
Yeah, we're going to discuss that later. Don't you worry.
Yeah. So I played with nearly all of them. So tough to see that, and you think it could possibly be some of those last swan song, especially in the Olympics. So tough to see, but they gave it their all, and what many people I think they're starting to realise now is that a couple weeks ago they didn't have a program.
I was about to say the same thing. Like 6 months ago, it wasn't a thing. GB.
Yeah. I mean, they only just got together, so to come fourth in both the men and the women's respectively is a pretty amazing achievement. And obviously, as professional athletes, they're not going to be happy with fourth. But that's just the way the cookie crumbles, unfortunately. And over time, time heals all wounds, doesn't it? So over time, with a bit of hindsight and perspective, they'll be able to understand what they've achieved. And I really hope in the future that sevens, whether it's GB or it goes into England, Scotland and Wales again, gets the funding it needs, because it's an unbelievable sport and it's a great pathway for young players such as myself, which came from it. So it was incredible to watch.
No, I completely agree. I think I was talking to Hannah, obviously she was my guest the other week on there. There'll be 2 or 3 weeks when this comes out. Hannah was on and I spoke to her after it. And I was like, you don't realise how much of a win you guys have had.
Yeah.
You've come fourth.
Yeah.
You've not got a medal, but the amount of work you've done in terms of actually inspiring and because you'll know yourself from seeing Twitter, because we're in the same Twitter ecosphere that they claim it's not, but it is. And it was like there was nothing but positive. I don't think there was a single bit of negativity, especially with the negativity surrounding the Lions at the moment and like all that Twitter nonsense. Like the positivity from GB was unbelievable.
Yeah, exactly, and you can't really fault them. Obviously, if they had a fully fledged, paid for program for years and years, and they had all these resources, and they came fourth, then you might get a bit of hate on Twitter, but really, no one can hate them because they've literally come from nothing and given it their all.
Exactly.
And as an as athletes, Sevens players, you know, they've got to be some of the best athletes in the world in terms of all the skills they have to possess, not only as a rugby player, but also physically. They've got to be able to be fast, fit, strong, powerful, agile, you know, just so many things like, you know, thinking under fatigue, communication under fatigue. It's a crazy sport in itself. Obviously, you know, it correlates into the 15s game, but it is becoming really a sport in itself. And they're unbelievable athletes, and they should be respected as so.
I was thinking. I remember there was one that stood out to me. It was the New Zealand women's winger, Michaela Blythe, I think her name is. I'm sorry if I got your name wrong, but she was like, it came up and it was like 63 kilos or something. And I was like, imagine only being 63 kilos. But then, if you looked at her, you'd be like, you must weigh at least 75 because you are nothing but muscle and you are still quite big. So it's like getting that muscle on the frame but keeping the weight off is unbelievable.
Yeah, well, I think when I played Sevens, I was around 85, 88, maybe 88 kilos. And I'm now 95 playing 15s. And but if you looked at me then, you probably wouldn't think I was as you wouldn't look at me now and go, "Oh, you're way bigger than you were then."
Yeah.
But I was, you know, obviously I'd like to think I'm probably stronger than I was then. But I think I'm definitely quicker than I was then. But which is some people don't have. When they put the weight on, they kind of lose the speed. But luckily, I made sure I had a conscious effort to make sure that I know weight's going to come on, because obviously the way the 15s game plays, I'm very conscious of the fact that's going to happen. So I worked really hard to make sure the speed stayed and got better, which is obviously good. But one thing that possibly I was then, which I'm not now, is a little bit leaner and a little bit good. I probably look much better on the beach then than I did now. But
are you still shredded for the Budgie Smuggler picks post game? That's the important part.
I try to be, mate. I suck in as much as possible nowadays, but back then I didn't have to.
Mate, I was. We were. We can talk about this bit on the podcast. I won't really. So for those who don't know, Blokes had their charity football match recently, and I was in the team with Tom Lindsay, former guest on the pod, friend of the pod, and Callum's current coach, Matthew Jess. And Matthew Jess is former pro player, and he was like, "I've got the budgies for the changing room picture ready." And then I think he took like one look at the rest of the nick of the rest of the boys. He's like, "Nah, lads, I won't do that." Like he must have been. Well, he must be about 9 years older than me, and I reckon he had more six packs, and I had hot dinners. I've never seen a man in better shape.
Amazing, silly Nick, isn't he? Yeah, I'm sure he probably took that Budgie's photo in a selfie mode by himself in the corner.
Just him.
Yeah, just him, mate. It's worth it, mate. He's an unbelievable Nick. So yeah, no, good on him.
Mate, I wouldn't even wear a t-shirt if I looked like Matt Jess.
yeah, exactly.
Right, mate. Talking about the Olympics, if you could pick one sport from the Olympics you could be good at, but you're not allowed to say rugby sevens, which one would you be?
So I've got two.
Yeah.
Gymnastics.
Yeah.
Or rowing.
Mate, rowing is the biggest lung burner I've ever seen.
So yeah, I think for me rowing is like you say, it's so tough. Yeah, and I've seen like little kind of snippets of like old videos of like before the 2000. I think 2003 was it Sydney? I can't remember what year that was, but like the training. The training was mental, and I was like, to get to where they were from that, you're like, they've been through a lot. And then I was watching the races recently. They're so close, and you're like, this is so exciting. I was like, this is incredible. And then you win. It must be an unbelievable experience, like achievement, like that feeling you get from winning something. Especially if I don't know, I'm really not very good at techniques, but I'm sure like you have also like multiple people in a boat sometimes, and it's like a team sport. It's a team sport, isn't it? So it's like unbelievable, like doing it with your mates. Obviously, grafted so hard together. That feeling you get in a rugby change room after a game, you get in rowing. I think that's unbelievable. And gymnastics as well. It's just cool, isn't it? It's really cool.
Do you know? I didn't realize how flexible you have to be a gymnast until I thought about it as this simple way. I was watching. It was Max Whitlock. It wasn't for his gold the other week. It was at the last Olympics in Rio. Yeah. And it was when I noticed that they take their trousers off. So you know how like, you and I will take a pair of trousers off and like you'll bend at the knee and pull it off from the calf.
Yeah.
It's when they just grab the waistband and just bend straight down, like straight legged, and just step out the trouser. That's when you realize how flexible they are. But
incredible.
No, I think I'd be pretty much the same as you. I'd choose gymnastics for the skill and sheer like body control you have to be a gymnast.
Yeah.
And then I'd choose, I don't know, I'd choose like archery or something. I reckon it'd just be cool to be like a professional archer. Like,
yeah. Oh, I'll tell you what, actually, the triathlon, that kind of stole me a little bit. I was watching that really intently. That was, I just really enjoyed it. I don't know why. It's not really my thing, like triathlon. Like, that sounds horrendous to me, like doing all that. I don't know. It's just really exciting. It was really exciting. So maybe that as well. Basically, I'm mental in the head, but I like the sports where they absolutely collapse at the end and just like and like the guy who won it, the individual triathlon, the men's, he was throwing up at the end. He's like, he couldn't even get to celebrate. He was just on his hands and knees vomiting. Like, imagine like finishing and then you go home, press on record, and you just watch yourself vomit at the end instead of celebrating.
Your mum's trying to get a nice picture for you for the photo frame. Just your hands and knees.
Yeah, exactly. Wheeled off in a wheelchair. It's like, that's amazing.
Mate, speaking of, do you watch? Are you familiar with CrossFit? Speaking of people like throwing up to the point of exhaustion.
Well, I've never done it. I'm not. I'm familiar with it. Yeah, I obviously some of the athletes in that are pretty crazy. I've actually watched a few in lockdown. I watched a few CrossFit.
Did you watch the Netflix shows?
Yeah. Like those is it like Fittest Man on the Planet or like all the ones?
Yeah, they're the ones. Yeah.
So I watched all them. It's unbelievably impressive because it's like mixing Olympic weightlifting with like cardio and running and all that crazy stuff, and they're freakish athletes as well by the look of it.
It's you should chat to Dan, Dan in our blokes group.
Yeah.
So obviously he didn't pack in rugby, he retired from rugby and then decided to do that because that's a nice easy retirement job.
Yeah,
he got like some sort of quarterfinal in the European competitions or something. He's mental. But,
I heard that they have like if you join like a CrossFit gym, it's like a family, like it's like a society, like it's a team.
It seems like a rugby club, if that makes sense. It feels like it sounds like a rugby club.
Yeah. That's why I get the feeling it's all like you're part of like a club, and then you're like they all look after each other. It sounds pretty. It sounds kind of like what a rugby player should do after they stop playing, to kind of keep themselves fit, and it gives you that team environment feel, so you feel like you're not missing it too much. Probably the right thing to do.
No, he smashed it. And then just because we were talking about people getting to exhaustion, you might have seen it if you've watched the documentary. There's a workout called, they name workouts after like ex-war veterans and stuff like that in America.
Oh really?
So there was one called Murph, and they did it in like the Bacon Sun in LA for one of their like CrossFit games, like their version of the Olympics. And it was like so hot. You had like people like running for shade and stuff like that, like people passing out from heat exhaustion. Like it was a proper, my body's telling me to stop, but my mind's telling me to keep going, and it was frightening to watch somebody be able to push themselves to that limit.
Yeah, pretty mental. I don't really know what to say about that. It's just absolutely, you'll be an absolute mental case to do that. But I feel like maybe I actually was saying this in the car the other day. I was saying that I want to do something when I retire. I'd love to do something. Hopefully after a long, illustrious rugby career, I'd love to do something just stupidly mental, like run 45 marathons in 45 days. It's something absolutely ridiculous for charity, obviously. I did it.
I think it'd be great. It's like what did Tom do in Harcourt? Tom Stevenson, was it 23 marathons? Is it 13 and 13 or 23 and 23?
Yeah, something like that. He did something absolutely mental as well. Yeah, so and kudos to that, unbelievable achievement. So I see those things and you kind of go, I really want to have a go at that. You really want to test yourself and push yourself to the limit, and definitely something I'd be keen to do. Obviously, hopefully no one comes chasing me saying they've got this challenge that I should do yet. Not quite
you'll have all the DMs coming in, like
not quite ready for it yet, but at some point in my life I'd love to do something mental.
No, I completely. I'd love to, like you said, I'd love to just have it as I did that thing that people thought I couldn't do type thing. Yeah,
like you're at the pub and they go, you did what?
Yeah.
How long? And you're like, yeah, I did that. And they're like,
you've made it when somebody's like scrolling through the phone and then they stop and scroll back to go, wait, what? He's done what?
Yeah. I actually had a. This was like when I was a kid. If my old man listens to this, he'll remember this. I had a mate who his old man was like an I think he was like ex-military, and he rowed the Pacific, something like that. And I said to him, I was like, "What? Like, why would you do that? Why did you do that?" And he went, "I just needed some headspace." And I was like, "That is the coolest thing I've ever heard."
That's like a proper Bruce Willis and Die Hard answer, isn't it? Like,
yeah, I was like, "That is the coolest thing I've ever rode the Pacific. Just needed some headspace." And I was like, "Wow, that is the coolest thing ever."
Just wanted some time away from the missus, mate. So
mental.
That's crazy. Hey, speaking about headspace, actually, leads me quite onto this. I'm thinking, it's like we're going on about books, like young athletes, because obviously you're quite young and you've got a few good stories from your time as you've faced, like you grew up in rugby quite a bit. But like speaking like young athletes in headspace, like have you seen like the age of some of the people in the Olympics? Like speaking of gymnastics, have you seen those two twins? I think it's Gardova twins or something. They're at their first Olympics, and I generally don't think they're past being teenagers yet.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it's mental. I've seen a few. I've not seen them, I don't think, but obviously I know athletes in gymnastics they breed them really young, and being young and light and small is probably like really good for gymnastics. But I've seen other sports, like you've got skateboarding now that's in the Olympics. You've got 13-year-olds winning gold medals.
I know. What were you doing when you were 13 for contrast? Because I know I wasn't winning gold medals when I was 13.
I think I was at school and boarding. I was at boarding school just trying to get to breakfast every morning. I think that was probably my achievements. Yeah.
I was praying to God puberty hits soon. I think that's what I was doing when I was 13.
Mate, I'm the same, man. I literally, yeah. I'm still waiting for it to hit.
Mate, it's fine. Everybody keeps telling me when we're 40 we'll look 25, so that'll be grand.
Yeah, exactly. It's perfect.
Right, mate, bit of fun. Now I want to talk to you about rugby, because obviously you've got a pretty incredible story. So you touched on it there. You didn't start off at Harrow School, but Harrow School is where rugby kind of became a bit more prominent in your life. How did you end up at Harrow School?
Yeah, so I was playing for Richmond, which was my home club, and I played in a game I can't remember what under 11s or whatever it was, under 12s and 13s game. And
chaos on the pitch, no structure.
Yeah,
grab the ball and run.
Scoring tries and having fun. And a man approached my old man. He was from another boarding school. He was from Stowe, and he was very nice. And he said, we'd like to offer your son a scholarship at Stowe or something like that. And my dad said, no, too far away. So he said, but he was very nice about it. He said, that's absolutely fine, but would you be willing for me to send his name out to other schools, maybe closer? Because, I think he's got something and blah, blah, blah. At the time, I was part of the Wasp's EPDG, the Elite Player Development Group, at a young age. And, at that point, you love your rugby and you want to do it, but, you don't quite understand. Obviously, we can come on to this, but you don't quite understand, the situation where I was in. Probably rugby wasn't going to be a realistic thing for me. Where I was going to school, where I was living. So a couple of days later, I got an email from Jesse Coulson, who was head of sport at Harrow at the time, who asked me to come round, have a look round. I did so. It wasn't quite as easy as kind of just getting a scholarship. I had to go to a trial day, which had like 100 different athletes from around the world there. Yeah. Different sports, and obviously you could be the best rugby player there, but there might be an unbelievable pole vaulter and they might just offer him the scholarship instead. So you had to play out, train out yourself that day and do your best. And so I went there and did the trial day, and I was offered a scholarship for rugby and athletics. And obviously I had to make the decision, and I made the decision in the car with my mum and dad. And they parked up just coming, there's a massive hill that goes up to Harrow School, because it's they call it Harrow on the Hill. Oh, and they parked up on the side of the road. They both that thing you see when you're in a movie where you put both parents look back at you in the back seat. And they went, so do you want to do this? And this whole place was alien to me. I loved the place I went to school. I went to Twickenham Academy. I loved it there. I had all my friends there, which was, at the time, it went from being a school called Witton to Twickenham Academy. It had a bit of a tough time with Ofsted, and it wasn't this kind of school you go to become a professional rugby player. Right. that place, you went to Harrow and had 18 rugby pitches and an 18-hole golf course, and a state-of-the-art performance gym just for scholarship athletes. Pretty incredible. You know what I mean? So they looked around at me and they said, "So, do you want to do this? By the way, you'll be living away from home for a month on end." And I said, "Yeah, I want to do it." Kind of mum bottom lip started to shake and she just turned back round and
praying you were going to say no. My boy's
hoping I said no, I don't want to do it. And I kind of did it the fatherly, yes son, good. Like I drove down and that was it. And then I was at Harrow. I was at Harrow for 5 years. And it is probably the most incredible 5 years of my life. I've had obviously unbelievable experiences since. I've travelled the world through my time at the Sevens. But you look back, obviously, at the time when you're a miserable 17, 18-year-old and you think boarding school's a prison, you don't quite understand how lucky I was to go there, to have the connections that you do now for going there, and also the opportunities it gave me to become, to fulfill a dream of mine was to be a professional rugby player. So, I really enjoyed my time there.
Oh, mate. So you've segued nicely for me. You're doing my job for me, which makes it really easy. Tell me how you got picked up by England Sevens, because I remember you've told me this story off camera before, and it was some sort of like festival of sevens or something. You were like 18, 19?
Yeah. So I was at Wasp still. And
is this when you were in the Wasps Academy?
Yes, I was in the Wasp Academy, and I was released from the Wasp Academy. I had a shoulder injury. I didn't play, and it all, it didn't work out. And it was one of those moments where, for me, you kind of, and from what people were telling me, they were telling me, I think you're going to get a contract at Wasp, you should be fine. You've got enough credit in the bank, and it didn't quite work out. So it was a bit, the walls crumbled down on top of me, and it was a bit of a shocking moment for me. So, but after that kind of conversation, went straight down to the pitch, and we started training for Sevens, and we had an unbelievable year that year in terms of the Harrow School Sevens team. We had me, we had Sean Raffel at Saracens, Andy Christie at Saracens, Elliot Batiimbo at Saracens. We had Will Glover, who's another English, was an English Sevens player with me. We had an unbelievable team, so we went around and we did do very well. We won the Marshall Sevens, which is a huge Sevens tournament nationally with schools. We beat Sherborne College, who are one of the best schools in the country for rugby. We smashed them 45-5 or something in the final. So we were really doing well, and I don't think we lost the tournament. Going into the Roslyn Park Sevens, which is what you said, which is the biggest. I think it's the biggest festival of rugby in the world at school level. So you've got schools from other countries coming just to compete in this Sevens tournament. I can't even explain it.
When you say schools, do you mean what's the one? Is it Paul Roos in South Africa?
They're all there. They're all there. You've got schools from Llanelli and Wales, all the big colleagues are the massive feeder to Llanelli Scarlets. All these boys who are all ready to go to professional rugby, who being tutored to be professional rugby. All there. You've got schools from around the country in England. Everyone's there. It is massive. It's 2 days long. It's I can even tell you how many kids at 18, 17, 18, all from all age groups. It is a huge thing, and it's a massive window of opportunity. Obviously, at the time, I wasn't signed anywhere, and I actually thought I was going to university, and that's probably why I enjoyed my rugby so much. I was making a bit of a wave throughout the Sevens circuit through playing for school, and played in that tournament, and my team got to the final. And I scored 18 tries over 2 days, something like that. And
you said that's such a humble way. I scored. Wasn't quite 20, but it was very close to 20.
yeah. So I scored a few, and I scored 2 in the final. And just before the final, so we played Millfield in the semi-final, which obviously everyone knows Millfield, unbelievable school. We beat them. Which is not if we played them at 15s, I don't know if we would. So we had just a great Sevens team. So, and I was rolling out on the dead ball area, and Simon Amor came up to me, who was head of England Sevens at the time, and he came up to me in the way that he does, and he kind of went, "Oh, you all right, mate?" I went, yeah, I'm not too bad. He went, you're Callum Sirker, I'm Simon Amell, nice to meet you. I said, nice to meet you. And he'll obviously...
I know who you are.
yeah, full England tracksuit on
and
said, like, how do you feel about coming to, like, trial out the sevens, come to a trial day? And I said, yeah, I really like that. He went, cool, we'll contact you. I went, okay. And then just before the final, and I thought, well, I've got to do all right in the final. So I managed to score 2 tries in the final, but we unfortunately lost against Cranley, who are an unbelievable team. And I had a lot of friends at Cranley as well, so it was a tough pill to take, tough pill to swallow.
Was the phone was lighting up after that? Was it just
yeah, exactly.
Today, mate?
Exactly. And boys that aren't even playing in the sevens, just lads that I know that go to Cranley, and the boys and girls that I know go to Cranley just text me going unlucky. And but then luckily we had a chance to play them again at the replay, because obviously it's such a big tournament. By getting to the final, you have the privilege of playing at Twickenham in the replay at the London Sevens.
That's cool.
So we went there, and like everyone's family's there, school kids are there. Cranley brought their whole school basically to watch the game.
Yeah.
And we were at the tunnel, and I remember like I had loads of mates, and they were just screaming down like, "Callum, you're shit. You're going to be rubbish today," like that. Yeah, and you're just smiling at them. And we pumped them like 45-5 in the replay.
That must have felt so good.
It felt so good, but like we looked around each other, like, why couldn't we have done this in the final and just won the trophy? Like we looked around, like so annoying. We just I can't remember how many tries I scored in that. I think it was 2 or 3, but it was a great day, and Simon Amell was there to watch, and even the lads that I was soon to become my colleagues at England Sevens just finished their last game, so they actually stood on the side of the pitch and watched the game. So they knew they obviously knew who the lads who were like, they knew me and Will Glover were going to be coming to the England Sevens, so they wanted to get a look at us. And luckily, we both played pretty well. So it was a good little advert. And from there, I've spent 2 years at the Sevens, and I absolutely loved my time there. Travelled the world, went to places I probably have never gone to unless I played for the Sevens. So I really enjoyed my time there.
Amazing. Talking about you're doing a great job here. I might just send you my notes on the thing because you're doing it well. Before we talk about England Sevens, what was it like in the England regionals, like not regional setups, but like England's age grades? Because you're very modest that you were just playing school level, but you're actually doing a bit for England age grades and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I played England 16s. I got 2 caps for England 16s. Played Scotland and Wales, and then I went to.
Were they home or away? England, Wales, and Scotland.
So Scotland was at home. We were at home.
Oh, you missed out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we played them, and we beat Scotland, and I scored 2 in that game. And then we played Wales away at Neath.
Yeah.
And tough place to go. And the story I remember from that is that we came out of the tunnel and we got up, line up to sing the anthem, and someone came on the tannoy and said, we're having trouble with the speaker system at the moment, and unfortunately the England team, they're going to have to sing the national anthem a cappella. So we did. So we sang a cappella like terribly, and then like we finished our singing, thinking like the Welsh team were going to have to sing a cappella as well. And then all of a sudden, how coincidentally and conveniently, the tannoy speaker worked again, so they got to sing it all.
That's so good.
Yeah. And all the England fans.
That's mind games there.
Exactly. You see all England fans going, oh, there we go. Obviously, how convenient. So, that's just typical English-Welsh rivalry, isn't it? So, I did that, and we won that game. And then I went to a couple of 17s and 18s camp. Unfortunately, I got injured with a shoulder injury, which took me out for my kind of 18s year. Mm-hmm. And then I was lucky enough to, through the Sevens, England Sevens, I got told kind of while I was in a tournament in Poland that I'd been selected I'd be called up to the 20s World Cup in Georgia. So I went to the 20s World Cup in Georgia, and I didn't play, but it was a great experience to be there and to give my first taste of 15s again after 2 years out, with some boys that I knew growing up, obviously. And yeah, really cool. I was there as kind of like injury covering to help out, and I worked hard, tried my best, and we got to the final as a team, and unfortunately lost to an unbelievable New Zealand side who were pretty sensational. Obviously got some boys now in the All Blacks, so pretty cool experience. And then after that, I was straight back into the sevens and another year.
Yeah, there's no shame in losing to New Zealand at rugby. I don't think anybody's going to judge you for that.
Yeah, no, exactly.
So when you were talking about age grade and then representative there, so you were talking about getting selected and called up. I remember we were talking about this before because we had quite a similar experience. So I never got to your level, but I got to regional level. So we had like south of Scotland, Caledonia, places like that. And I remember we were discussing this. Did you have it where, so you say when you were doing like a training week before they announced the squad and you have like the select, so you have like your 40-man squad before they go down to the 25. Did you have it where they would just like you were just all in a room and they just list out names? Like how did yours go?
Yeah. So I remember obviously it got a bit more advanced when you got older in the age group. Obviously like 70s, 80s, and like when I went to the 20s World Cup, you obviously got like very like you got told you've been called up to the England 20s World Cup. You got put in a private room and taken. But for some reason at England under 16 level, when I played that, like it's such a formative moment. Like when people think they're going to make it, they're not going to make it. We were all in divisions, so I was in London and South East of England, and you had like Midlands, North, and South West. And obviously, so on the day of selection, London and South East would go into their room, Midlands would go into their room, and and so on and so forth. And basically, the coach would stand up at the front of the room, and he'd name all the lads from the southeast of England, London, southeast of England, that have been selected for the England under 16s. So he'd list out the names, and quite a few boys from London southeast that got selected, which was you had me, David Abatoye, Nick Asekwe, Ben Earl.
That's an impressive squad you're with right there, just with those names alone.
Yeah, to name a few. So there's a few. I'm probably Ruben Bird-Tulloch. There's a number of boys, a number of really good players. So we all got selected. I'm trying to think if I forgot anyone. If I have, I have. And
they'll let you know when they see it on the podcast. They're like, mate, how could you forget me?
Yeah, I don't think they'll be that bothered. Like, if I called them out in England under 16 meeting, but I remember that. We all got called, like we named, and like boys, we're standing out and like boys are clapping, but you can see lads that are like crying, like. And clapping, and you're like, this is so brutal. Like, there's definitely a better way this can be done. So, like, standing up and then facing the room. Yeah, so you're facing these young 15, 16-year-old lads whose dreams have just been, they think they've just been shattered to a million pieces. And you're stood up there giving the thumbs up to everyone, like, oh, this is amazing.
I feel great.
Yeah, and these lads just crying their eyes out. And you're like, this is horrible. Like, why am I standing here? And then the coach goes, and obviously, like, if you'd like to like get up and congratulate the boys that have been selected, and these lads are coming up to you and they're just tears in their eyes and they're just shaking your hand and you don't know what to do. And I just with hindsight, you look back at it and you think that is the most brutal moment ever. Like,
that's humbling from a very young age. That is very humbling.
Yeah, well, like a lot of lads that didn't make it, and they always said this. A lot of lads that didn't make it at 16. Well, are professional rugby players now, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, being good at being the best player in the world at 16 doesn't give you, just so everyone knows, doesn't mean you're going to be a professional rugby player when you're older. There's so many different reasons why you become one and different pathways, and it's a late maturation sport, so you could be there or thereabouts at 16 and come into your own at 18 or 20 or 21 after uni. So at the time, obviously these young lads think their dreams are shattered, but then again, you think when you get to on the shoe on the other foot, you think you're going to be the next England star when you play England 16. So, and some boys were, but you got Fennell and boys like that who are doing unbelievably well at the moment. But yeah, it was a pretty brutal moment. It's quite a funny story. Like, you can laugh at it now, but at the time you're like, wow.
I couldn't imagine that, just having to stand at all the people going, because the way my brain would look at it is if I was watching names get picked out, going, okay, well, there's definitely one less spot than there was one name ago now. So they've got my spot as far as I'm concerned until I'm up there with them. Yeah,
and you've got loads of other divisions calling their names out, and you're thinking how many Southeast players got picked, and it was all mental, man. It's crazy time. But
I'd be panicking, like, especially like I suppose it's different for me and you. We both played back row, so there's a bit of utility. Or I played back row and you played winger, so there's a bit of utility where you can move.
Yeah,
but, like, people for like specialist positions, like the 10s must be going, So if 3 have got picked from here already, and I know there's 6 other rooms with people getting picked that have good 10s in it.
Well, an example of someone who didn't get picked from the under-16s, Ben Curry. So Tom Curry got picked. I played with Tom Curry, and Ben Curry didn't. Look at Ben Curry now. I mean, he's just got his first England cap. So,
Exactly.
Really,
you're doing well whenever you can keep South Africans out of a back row in Sale as well to play. So
exactly, mate. So I mean, it was a great achievement. I really enjoyed my time, but when you start to get to kind of England 20s, and that's when you start getting set. That's when things become a little bit more real. But yeah,
I remember. I'll tell you something. I remember I used to work in a hotel just near my house, and we actually housed the England under-20s once. They were like when they were playing in Six Nations up here. Oh, yeah. And I remember I was like serving them like their breakfast because I was working at the buffet, so I was just like part-time staff. And then I think I was talking. I don't think it was Maro. It might have been Joel or somebody like that. Joel Caputo. I don't want to butcher his name. We're so bad in rural Scotland for names, but especially my accent, it doesn't help. Like I could say it perfectly, but it sounds wrong. But yeah, he was there, and he was like, he must have been at least like 1.5 feet taller than me. And it's like, when you have that realization of why you didn't become a professional rugby player.
Yeah, you're talking about Joel Capoco, aren't you?
Yes. Sorry, the one from Saracens. Yeah. He's a I played him recently. I didn't play him that long ago. He's a mammoth, and he's huge. He's like this just huge man. Yeah. It's like you were watching him, and he was like, "Oh, I'm having like a light breakfast today," and he was like, chewing through bacon and sausages, getting the protein in and eggs, and you're like, "Wow." Yeah,
don't worry about it. I'm a professional rugby player, and I see people like that. And I think maybe this isn't the job for me, but
yeah, but you can run past them. I was just stood there. Like,
you
can sidestep them.
You've got to hope they don't have the ball and you're directly in front of them. But yeah.
No, just become like the human speed bump. Just throw yourself at the ankles and just hope for the best.
That's exactly what I do. That's exactly
tin hat on.
Tin hat on. Exactly.
Right. Right. I know you've got some great stories about England Sevens, so we're going to talk about England Sevens because who was your very famous roommate that you got given on one of your first trips?
Yeah. So I had Dan Norton I played in the Hong Kong Tens, which is a pretty famous tournament in Hong Kong, and after that tournament, I was called up to the main team, England Sevens.
Yeah. For context, how old were you at this point?
18.
Exactly. So imagine being 18, finally old enough to drink, and somebody goes, "By the way, you're going on an all expenses paid world tour."
Yeah. It's that 18, 19. Yeah, 18, and maybe just turned 19, and they said, "Oh, you've been selected for your 13th man at Hong Kong." I said, "Amazing," and they said, "Oh, you're rooming with Dan Norton." I went, "Oh." Because obviously, at the time, Dan obviously unbelievable player, unbelievable try scorer, but at the time he's your mortal enemy because you're trying to get him out of the team. And obviously, me and Dan had some pretty tasty training sessions, and I was trying to learn off him, but also take his head off at the same time because obviously I wanted to play. So, difficult times, and Dan, I think many people would like his nickname Dean would think. Thinks he gets charged at night. He comes in with so much energy, and and I had to room with him. I got into the room, and he basically said to me, "I don't want to hear your voice. I don't want to see you move." Yeah, and I was like, "Okay, cool." And I just started laying in bed, like.
Thank you, Mr. Norton. Sorry, Mr. Norton.
And I literally like it was such different ends of the spectrum because I was 18, 19. Obviously, I was 13th man. And I was thinking, I just played in the 10s and we got to the final. It was a great time. I'm thinking, like, it's quite funny because, like, at that age, I'm thinking, amazing. I've been picked for, like, as 13th man in England. But the likelihood I get on, probably not. Because you're travelling reserve for that tournament. And you're thinking, I've just missed a night out on the piss with the lads that I just played with.
Yeah.
I'm, like, talking about, like, and I'm trying to think, like, what do I do after? Or what? I need to get myself in the right shape for the tournament. Then when the tournament finishes, where can I go out? Whereas Dan Norton was like on FaceTime to his family and his little one and like talking about, kitchen developments and stuff. And I'm thinking like, how do I even dress myself in the morning? I don't even know what I'm doing.
Do we have to wear stash all the time? Or?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like different ends of the spectrum. Like, like I was a single bloke at the time, so like I was loving life. So completely different ends.
Your phone just had that one smudge that kept going the same direction.
Yeah. So just different.
That's the most rugby thing we'll say on this chat. I promise we don't always talk like that.
Yeah. completely different adventure, but you learn a lot from him. And I say a lot about Norse and our relationship, but when I was there, but he's a great bloke. He's done a lot for England Sevens, and he's an unbelievable player. And I learned a lot from him. And the way he beats a man is ridiculous. And he's getting on now, mine, but
he still looked all right the other week playing rugby.
Yeah, tell you what, that's what annoys me. It's like you're nearly 500 noughts. Give it up. Do you know what I mean? Just like, but yeah, he's an unbelievable player. I've not spoken to him in a very long time, but I used to do this thing even when I left Sevens. I've not seen him for like 6 months. I just send him an Uber split on my phone every time I went on a night out. So I just send him like split fare with Dan Norton, and he'd like text me like 6 a.m. He'd be like, piss off, like go away, please. Like, and I just I would not reply, I just read it, and then like 2 weeks later I'd go out again. I just split the Uber with him again, hope he'd split it. But he never would. But it was funny.
I bet that was the least funny thing he's ever thought. And then like you and your friends, like you say, like that's the funniest bit of banter you can have.
Oh yeah, I was just like, but I never told him. I was just like, it's just one of those things. I was just like, split. And when it just came with an option, do you want to split? I was like, split. I just hoped for the best. I was hoping one day he just went, yeah, why not? I'm feeling generous today.
One day you save like £8 on a fare.
Yeah, exactly.
Mate, I think it'd be one of those things like we were saying earlier, like you don't realise how beneficial it was at the time, but then like you see in like 4 years' time, you look back and going, having Norris as a roommate really, really helped.
Oh, massively. And then like, I just followed him around really, just like followed him around like a bad smell around to meetings and stuff. And obviously it's kind of the same as like any tour. You're responsible for your roommate. Yeah. So like, if he was late, I was late, and if I was late, he was. Do you know what I mean? So he made sure that I was on time. I was never late for anything. I was probably more on top of things in terms of timings than he was. He was very relaxed. You know what I mean? Yeah. Kind of relaxed. Noughts, did what he wanted. Yeah. Top try scorer in the world.
I'm Dan fucking Norton. That's how I ended up.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was kind of standing at the door with like 25 minutes till the meeting, which is only a 2-minute walk down the road, down the corridor. I was like, "No, we've got to go," and he's like, "Can you just relax, please?"
Still in bed, just like me.
Yeah, literally, like he'd probably get up about 30 seconds before we had to be there, and I was like, "Oh, I need to be there right now."
Mate, bless him. In fairness, he's probably got more air miles than most people have had hot dinners. That man, to be fair.
Mate, I dread to think how many times he's been on a plane, how many times he's had to travel. He's probably the most unbelievable like traveller. Even when he goes on holiday, he's probably got like this bag that rolls out and it's got like everything you need on it, it's basically like James Bond. Like it's got everything it needs.
Yeah. It's like one of those dashboards in the car. You just put it down and just has the exact button that helps him in that situation.
Yeah, exactly. Like you just for a time, for my 2 years there, I got very good at traveling. Like I got very good at like having the right amount of clothes for the right amount of days and like rolling it up perfectly so it fitted. You just get really good at that stuff. Or then like buying like the small shampoos instead of, you know what I mean? So
yeah, the travel stuff. Yeah,
and then you get really good on planes and like know what to press for certain things, and then like what everything is at Heathrow because you've been there so many times.
I'd hate that. The novelty of duty free must wear off quite fast. Massively. But you never stops getting family members peppering you for when you come home for like duty free stuff, and you're like, don't really want to. You get like you pay the whole. Your mate's asking you to get like the 100 Marlboro fags for like 20
exactly. Yeah, and you're so sore and battered, and you've probably been on the night out, and then you've got straight on a plane, so you're hungover, sore, and some bloke's asking you to look round duty free and get loads of stuff. You're like, please leave me alone, but. It is what you got to do. It's the small things. You've got prices you have to pay to. That's a world, I guess. Yeah, exactly.
Mate, right. We're going to talk now. We know what happened. You're now a proud member of the Cornish Pirates.
Yes.
You must be buzzing. How did you end up at Cornish Pirates? Because you were telling me about it was a bit of a whirlwind there. So you decided that Wasp wasn't the place for you, and you thought, well, you tell me the story. Tell me the story you want to tell me of how it went.
Yeah. So I mean. Things ended at Wasps, and I put it this way, ended pretty late. Yeah. So I didn't have much to go off. Mm-hmm. I'd not played the amount of games I wanted to, put it that way. And I was left kind of with not much game time, not a lot of highlights, and told very late that I wasn't going to be continue on with Was. And obviously that is just unfortunately that is just professional sport. It's brutal. It's the way it is. You've got to get used to it. So at the time, that was my reality, and I had to get pretty on board with the fact that I didn't think I had a job in rugby. So obviously, I've said already that I'm doing law school online part time. Well, before at the end of the season, I thought I was going to be doing that full time at law school in Waterloo, and I'd have to look for a part time job on the side and possibly try and play some rugby part time and try and keep the dream alive. But you kind of think to yourself that because of the intensity of law school, that it was going to be a kind of a crash course to get through my PGDL, my postgraduate diploma in law. I wouldn't have time to play rugby and have a job on the side that pays me, so I can actually, maybe find a little flat or house share or whatever. So, the dream was, the rugby was, it was looking kind of, it was squeaky bum
on the back burner,
massively. So, on the back burner, or I was having real genuine thoughts that maybe this isn't for me. Maybe rugby's just not going to pan out. And unfortunately, I'm going to be that guy in the pub that said, I would have been that if it wasn't for this and wasn't for that. But I was determined that wasn't going to be the case. So, I got a message from obviously Matt Jess, who's obviously a friend of ours and
one of the greatest people we've ever met, I think it's safe to say.
He's an ambassador for blokes. He's a brilliant man, and he kind of messaged me out of the blue. So obviously, before then, I had lots of talks with clubs, championship, a few premiership, and they all just fizzled out before that. So that's why I was coming to the realization that maybe I wasn't going to have a club, and I just have to get on with my life. And luckily for me, I have a degree, so I was going into law. So luckily, I had something to fall back on. So I got a text from Matt Jess, who kind of said, like, I'm assuming you have a club, but if you don't, maybe you might want to come to the Cornish Pirates. I messaged him saying, I haven't got a club, and
I'd love to go to the Cornish Pirates.
I'd be very interested in having a look at or talking about the Cornish Pirates. Straight away that day, he's given me a call, and we discussed it. He's kind of given me his idea of it, what they want, their vision. And suggested that, we chat on like a Zoom call with Gavin Cattle, who's one of the head coaches at Cornish Pirates. At the time, now and at the time, I didn't have an agent. So obviously I parted ways with my agent because I thought I didn't need one because I'm not a professional rugby player anymore. So so I had a Zoom call with Gavin and Matt Jess was there, and Gavin was brilliant. He's a brilliant bloke himself, and I've heard a lot of good things from people about the Cornish Pirates and about the coaching staff. So the only thing this is the whirlwind. So before then, when Matt got hold of me, I was like, he asked me about it, and I said I'm interested, and we had a few conversations, and I said to him, and he said, and when it started to heat up, I was going on a lad's holiday. So
where are we talking? Are we talking like proper Ibiza, Ocean Beach?
No. So this was when the COVID was like in I think it was July or something. So it was like June. So it was like Brighton. We went to Brighton like 4 nights.
Brighton's quite hip and trendy from what I see. I mean, I'm rural Scotland, so. But...
I know, it was brilliant. No, hip and trendy. It was really cool, vibrant, and busy, and allowed us to go to like nightclubs, but the nightclubs were like tables, so it was all nightclub music and dark and brilliant. I'm not giving out my nights out there, but so I kind of messaged him and said, like, by the way, Matt, I'm on a lad's holiday. Like, I'm going to be on a lad's holiday for like 4 days, 4 nights. Like, I probably won't text you at midnight on my nights out, Steve, and be like, yes, you know what I mean? So. And we actually did speak while I was out on my lad's holiday, and I didn't tell the boys anything. So, I was like at a park.
Were you with mates from home, or were you with like mates from Wasp?
Mates from Wasp. I was with Tim Cardle, Will Porter, and Cam Anderson, and we were meant to go with like a few other lads, one of them being Tom Willis, and then he messaged us a couple of days before the lads' holiday. Sorry, I've been called up to England. We're like, all right, see you later. What would you rather be, England camp or lads' holiday?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
get battered for 18 minutes or just batter the beers for 8 minutes.
We were like, don't speak to us again. You didn't come to the lads' holiday. But so there was a few times where like I'd be at a beer in hand at a pub.
Yeah.
I'd get a call from Matt Jess or like a message from Matt Jess. I'd be like out on the phone or like, speaking, and the lads were like, what's he getting on his phone for? Like, so they knew something.
They probably thought you were phoning the missus or something.
Yeah, exactly. So I got home. Exactly. So I got home from the lads' holiday, and that's when I had my Zoom call with Gavin and Matt, and I kind of said, because I initially kind of one of the things in the negotiations, I didn't have an agent at the time. I said I haven't got. I can't find a one bed flat in Penzance because everything was summer, Cornwall, beautiful. Everyone's renting them out as Airbnbs, and there was like one left. So Gavin said to me, like, why don't you come down and have a look at this place that we've got, or one of the lads owns that he rents out to boys. Why don't you come down this week? And I was like, literally just come back from Brighton. Yeah. And he wants me to come down to Cornwall. And he was like, by the way, don't come on a Friday because that's obviously when the traffic's going to hit. Yeah. And it was like Wednesday. So I was like, so I just literally was like, okay, yeah, I'll come in. So I went, it was a Tuesday. So like I said to my dad, like, my old man who wanted to come with, I said, we need to go down to Cornwall this week and before Friday. So we're like, well, we leave tomorrow then. So we got in the car, drove down, we met by Gav and shown around the house. It's beautiful, a great view, which I showed you earlier.
Oh, mate, you'll have to post a picture on the gram that people can see when it comes out because it's blissful. Like,
it's pretty cool. So, kind of was, kept my poker face because obviously I didn't have an agent at the time, so I was trying to be like,
Cam Compo has done this a million times before.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and then we got shown around the Mene Field, which is obviously a famous Cornish Pirates, famous. Loved it, and kind of over a coffee came to an agreement on a contract, which you have to do at this level. And then I was there on the Wednesday, I remember, and then Thursday I signed. And I remember on the Wednesday, he said, like, obviously you're entitled to your Rugby Players Association 5 weeks off. So what? You've got like 3 weeks left. And I said, no, I want to be there for day one of pre-season. I want to meet the boys. I want to graft with the boys.
Yeah.
I thought that was the right thing to do, and I still think it was. But he said,
no, absolutely.
He said this was Wednesday, and he said, "Oh, brilliant! Training starts on Monday."
Bollocks!
Oh, God.
You're still nursing a 3-day hangover from the last.
I was pretty much 18 days on the piss. So I was like, "Oh God, yeah, that sounds fine. That sounds fine." So got back on. So on the Thursday, I'd signed.
Yeah.
Drove back on the Thursday, and then left. Came back up on the Sunday with all my belongings and moved in. And then I was training on Monday.
You're a pirate.
I'm a pirate, yeah. So it's pretty like a whirlwind kind of week.
Sounds straightforward when you put it like that. Speak to somebody on Monday, sign by Friday.
Yeah, it does sound. Trust me. Usually negotiations are not done by the player, and it's not kind of strung like that short and easy. Yeah. But they were brilliant. Gavin was brilliant. Matt, brilliant. I can't thank Matt enough for thinking of me and fighting my corner. And I'm really looking forward to working with Matt and all the coaching staff moving forward for the season. Matt's a brilliant coach. I've worked with him, so far through the pre-season. Very thoughtful coach, and genuinely wants each and every player to get better. So you can only, as a player, work off that and try and genuinely show that you want to get better yourself. And this is for me. This is it's almost like a second shot. Which many people don't understand, because obviously you go to Cornish Pirates, people go, great gig, and it is an unbelievable place to be, and it's a great club with great ambition. That they want to go up, they want to be a top 3 side in the Champions. That's minimum top 3. So but for me, it was like, before this, I had nothing. I didn't have anything. That's just the stark reality of where I was. So what people probably don't understand about my situation, don't see on the glitz and glamour of social media and Instagram is I didn't have anything. And having this, no one will quite understand how grateful I am to the Cornish Pirates, to Matt, to Gavin, to Alan Paver and the coaching staff there to giving me this opportunity. And I'm very much committed and dedicated to paying back that trust they've put in me. And I'm really looking forward to the season ahead.
Oh mate, no, it speaks volumes. Just I know this because I speak to you quite regularly, but like people listening to that there will understand the testament of the person you are. Because like you said, you could have easily turned around and just gone, oh well, that's gone. Maybe rugby's not meant to be, but you were straight away. You were like, well, I'm not just going to let myself give up on something like that. And you were. They even come down to the going, like if somebody tells most people, oh, you can have 3 weeks off in a brand new job where you know you're getting paid. It's like a lot of people go decent 3 weeks free paid, like week off, and you were like, no, I want to be there on day dot, and I'll be the first one through the door.
No, I appreciate it. No, I've really enjoyed it so far. You know, great bunch of boys, and you know, being in a place like Cornwall, you know, you're quite secluded from everywhere else. So the boys are very tight knit.
Yeah.
And I felt that already, and boys look after you, and so I really enjoyed it. And you know, they've got some special players here and some special boys that have played over 100 games here and become club legends that are still playing. So, you know, I really see this as an opportunity not only to progress my career but also to give back what the trust they've shown in me, and I'm really looking forward to doing that. And you know, it's I have to kind of stop myself sometimes and realise how grateful I am to be in a position I am, because really the stark reality was, don't get me wrong, going to law school full time is a brilliant thing, and I would have loved to have done that. It would have been great to do, but really I would have been doing that plus possibly pulling pints, and there's nothing wrong with that, but that's not what I was quite ready to do with my life yet. And,
I think it was a big change that would have affected you the most.
Yeah, I think that's the case, and I think that's where I wasn't quite ready to accept that was the turn of my life. And although I had to kind of go, well, you know, I've got to accept it and move on, but maybe when I got myself to that position,
you're still allowed to be, for want of a better word, fucked off. Like, you're still allowed to be pissed off.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think it would have probably taken me to be somewhere at 11 o'clock at night serving someone their dinner. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Probably to think, fucking hell, like, this sucks. Do you know what I mean? And I know some people enjoy that, and some people that's their job, but you know, everyone has a calling in life, and I feel like mine is what I'm doing currently. So I think I'm very grateful to be here, and the position I'm in now in terms of where I am in the country. You know, especially in the summer, there's no more beautiful place to be, I feel. So I'm very lucky, and I'm grafting hard with the lads, and it's not long till pre-season games start and the season cracks on, and I'm ready to give it my all.
No, mate, absolutely. Well, I'm buzzing for you, and I don't have a championship team, so I'm happy to support the Cornish Pirates. Plus, with you and Jesse there, I feel kind of obligated to, because you're two.
Right, you show and come to a game.
Mate, do you know how? Mate, it was hard enough getting to Manchester the other week for the football game.
I was actually going to say, like, I was thinking, bloody hell, that's actually a hell of a journey. Yeah.
Mate, I spent 6 hours on public transport to play 90 minutes of amateur football, and then I spent 6 hours on the way back.
Yeah. Well, get yourself on a plane. You got a place to stay in, and then there'll be a night out afterwards.
Mate, don't ask Tom Lindsay. If you promise me a night out, I deliver.
Here we go. Now, that's the most rugby thing we're going to say in this.
No, mate, because I can't handle my drink at all. I can handle the hangovers and go again, but I can't handle the drink, man.
Neither can I. So it'll be sweet as we cheap date.
Home at 10, that'll be class. Out at 6 on my 10. I'll split the Uber with you. We won't have to message Dan Norton.
There's no Ubers around here. There's no Ubers around here, mate. You got to book your taxi in advance around here.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've learned that the hard way. Trust me, I've learned that the hard way.
Stood walking down the high street at like 12:30, like, taxi.
Yeah, like, I put my finger out and please help.
Anybody going towards the sea? I know I'm near the sea.
Yeah. One of the lads actually said to me, like, if you ever get lost, just walk towards the seafront and you know where you are. And I was like, that actually does make sense. I actually do know that does make a lot of sense.
Walk to the seafront, but just don't go in and you're fine.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, where in the country can you say that? Like in London, when you're lost, you're lost. But obviously, when I'm in London, I'm never lost because I've got Uber or I know the underground. But here, if I actually was lost, I would actually walk towards the sea. That's actually what I do. I'm away from there.
Right. Well, mate, you've actually survived it. You've only got one section left of our podcast, and it is the teammate section. So obviously last time when you were on, I was finding my feet and the quick fire and teammates merged together. but now they're two separate things. So you've had the quickfire questions where we find out about you. Now you get to sell out every player you've ever played with in time, and we find out who's the best and who's the worst at certain things.
Yeah, happy days. So I'm all under the bus. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why I'm debating changing the name from Teammates to Under the Team Bus, because there's a Soccer AM copyright infringement that maybe could be good.
Okay, no drama.
So if it ever gets famous, it's always been called Under the Team Bus, but until now it was Teammates.
Happy days.
There we go. Right, Teammates / Under the Team Bus with Callum Sirker, and I can't wait. So same as quickfire, first name that comes in your head, rattle it out and go. And this can be from anybody you've ever played with ever. So England under 16s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Hardest tackler.
Nick Sekwe.
Fair. Fastest feet.
Ollie Lindsay Haig.
Ollie Lindsay Haig. Oof. Great shout. He was phenomenal the other week as well.
Yeah.
It's funny because some of these you said last time and you said different answers. So if I remember them, I might.
Now I've had a more clearer. I'm clearer now. I mean,
it's that sea air. Yeah, the sea air.
Yeah, better answers. Better answers.
Who's a human turnstile? Who can't tackle for love nor money?
Jacob Umaga. That's not changed, I don't think.
Jacob Umaga. No, that was the same one.
I'll caveat that with saying, for a man, a man that doesn't like fancy a tackle, he's doing pretty damn well for himself. So maybe he's the one that's laughing. You know what I mean?
Well, when we get Jacob to come on, I'll beg you to get Jacob on for me, and I'll be like, Cal said you can't tackle for love nor money.
Oh yeah, he can't tackle for love nor money, but he's making a lot of money and he's playing for him. Yeah.
He does the tackle for him. That's what he does.
Exactly.
Who's most up for a night out? Plus, he's got the nicest stash that we've seen going, so he's fine. Can't tackle in your new Composure Club clothes.
Who's most for the night out? I'd probably say Alfie Barbary, 100%.
Really?
Loves it. Yeah, loves it. I don't know if that's allowed to be said because he's probably supposed to be on his best behaviour in pre-season, but he loves the night out. Loves it.
Fair play to him. Sesh Gremlin, love it. Who can't handle the night out when Alfie's organised one?
Me.
Really? Yeah, you can't have you. That's a cop out.
Well, I'm not very good with my drink. Probably the worst. Tim Cardle, second row at Wassup, obviously, and he's peace and shot. He can have times where he's unbelievable and he's like full send, and and then sometimes he'll just smoke bomb me. He'll leave at 1, and you'll be like, what? Or like, we'll leave at like. Yeah, and it's you. I know exactly where he goes. He goes straight to the Domino's down the road in Leamington. That's where he goes.
Mate, if he's on Domino's, he's got too much money. That's like half a mortgage for one of those pieces.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he gets 2 of them and eats them both at the same time.
You definitely you might not have said Jacob Umagas, but you definitely should have said that.
Yeah.
Pre-season strength and conditioning and nutrition coach is just like scoring names off on the sheet.
That's his off season. He's actually still in it now. Although he came in the best nick he's ever. I think he said to me, "He's like, I'm the best nick I've ever felt." Yeah, goes in. You're in Fat Club this pre-season.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
Who's got the worst fashion sense you've ever played with? Like, who's just had some awful stash?
Worst fashion sense. Tom Willis has got the worst fashion sense because he wears, like, we used to get into him because he used to wear like Adidas trainers with jeans and a top. We used to take the mick out of him and be like, why are you doing that? Just like, we're like, you know what I mean? Like Ultra Boost with his jeans, and he'd be like, all weathers, lads, all weathers. You'd be like,
I'm saying no, because I literally went to like a neighbor, like a drinks venue in Ultra Boost and jeans the other day. So I'm saying nothing.
No, we need to get you out. We need to get you out shopping. We need to do what's that film called? Crazy Stupid Love, where like Ryan Gosling takes
What a film! What a brilliant film! You didn't mention that in your favourite films, are you?
Great film, isn't it? Yeah, great knowledge from me to know that. Steve Carell, yeah, we'll do that.
Mate, any excuse to come down from Cornwall for a piss up with the boys, I'll be there. We'll tell the blokes, lads, and just say Callum Sirker's having a housewarming in his 1-bedroom flat, and we'll all go.
Right, hey, this isn't a 1-bedroom flat now, so I've got room for everyone. Let's go.
We're there.
Exactly.
The blokes AGM is now taking place in Cornwall. Right, who's the best player skill-wise you've ever played with? Just natural skill.
That's so hard.
If you have a few, you can name a few.
I'll probably say, I'm going to go be strict on it. I'm going to say Joe Webber.
What a shout. What a brilliant shout that is.
Yeah, Joe Webber. So I played with Joe Webber for the Penguins of the Hong Kong Tens, and he was freakishly good.
Fair play. I never would pick that.
I'll tell you another one. Actually, I'll give you another one now because he deserves a mention. Billy LaRue.
I can understand that. He is unbelievable.
Yeah, so obviously I was at Wassup with him, and I trained a fair bit against him, and you can't get a hand on him. And it's not like he's not like he's beating you footwork wise. It's like you're rushing up on him, and he's literally touching the ball with his fingertips, and for some reason he's been able to pass it perfectly with the man next to you. You're like, I've literally thrown at you as hard as I can. You weren't even looking at me, and he's tapped it along or out the back or something, and you're like, get out of it.
I'll tell you a quick story about this. So we had in my school for some reason we had a weird abundance of athletes of like weird and wonderful sports. Yeah. And we had this he's like an all-terrain runner, like ultra runners, the ones that like run up mountains and stuff. Yeah. And he played for us on the wing, and he never wanted to be a rugby player. He was like, as you can imagine, a runner's build, quite small, very light. But he had such control over his pace and stride. Yeah. That I remember once we were playing, it was sevens, we were warming up for like school sevens season. Not quite to the same level as yours. And he literally ran the length of the pitch past me and made sure he stayed just out of arm's reach the whole time. So I can imagine how you feel. Like you just feel like you're just out of reach. And I'm pretty sure he did it on purpose because when I slowed down to that, I'm not going to catch him. He slowed down as well, so he made you keep chasing.
You're just enough.
Yeah, if you ever get a chance to look him up, his name's Jacob Adkin on Instagram. You'll probably find him. He's unbelievable, the stuff he does. Like when you see the times he posts. Yeah, okay. He's like a real. He's like you basically look at some. He basically looks at somebody that ran a marathon and went, "Yeah, I can do that over Ben Nevis in half the time."
Yeah, that's mental. Yeah, I'll be interested to do that. Yeah.
Right, back to where we were. Just had that. Following on from who's the most skilled player you've ever seen? Who's the biggest athlete you've ever seen? Like who was just a freak of nature in terms of athlete?
Athlete. God, that's tough. I would say, I hate to say it, but I'm gonna have to say Dan Norton.
You said that with such pain in your voice.
Yeah, I think, yeah, yeah.
For the record, Danny does like you. Believe it or not.
Yeah, I think Dan Norton's gonna have to be, in terms of athleticism, incredible. I mean, what he can do, his coordination to beat someone, his speed, the fact that he's kept that kind of ability throughout his years. Yeah, mate, he's unbelievable. Yeah, probably him.
Right. Who's the biggest joker? Who's the biggest prankster that you've ever had to share a changing room with?
I've got a lad at Pirates at the moment who actually I've known. He was at the 20s in Georgia, called Josh Caulfield, and he loves kind of throwing in a little bit of like we're doing a Bronco today. We're doing throwing a little bit of like in the train. We're doing full contact today for 50 minutes or something like that, and you're like, what? And
50 minutes bags and full boot.
Yeah, everyone gets scared. And everyone's like, oh no, we are. Everyone starts strapping their shoulders, and then it's actually just a touch session. You're like, I was like laughing at everyone, or it's funny. Yeah, he's good.
I love thought like your team accountant just like raging. So you've just gone through like 40 quid worth of tea.
Yeah. He's like telling everyone, like, genuine. It's been said. Like, this is what we're doing. And everyone's like, what?
Oh, poor boy. Right, who's the best dancer?
Best dancer, Gabriel Gray.
Really?
Yeah, could cut some shapes, mate. Yeah, really good.
Vice versa, who's the worst dancer? Who's the one that shouldn't be dancing?
Probably Tom Willis in his Ultra Boost. Probably.
Mate, he's got room to breathe.
Mate. You think with the Ultra Boost, he would be moving really with some really good agility and change of direction, but really he stays within his two steps. Yeah, mate. Yeah. Probably not Tommy Willis. I love Tom Willis to bits. He's one of my best mates, but I've not really seen the man dance really. So
cannot dance.
Yeah.
Mate, you're doing him a favour by not making him dance then.
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
Who's got the best sidestep you've ever seen? Played with?
Well, probably Ollie Lindsay Haig. Probably freak his feet.
Yeah.
just probably him. Who else? That's probably him. I've not, I've not played him, but probably Cheslin Colby is the best step I've ever seen on a rugby pitch. I mean, he's a freak. But in terms of people I've played with, or against, probably Ollie Lindsay Haig. Yeah.
Who's got best tunes? Who's the one that's always just been like banging tunes?
Bialo, because Bialo, he's a proper Wasp, and he's got his own music. He raps.
I've not heard this.
Yeah, he's got a new song out. So everyone, Bialo on Instagram. Give him a follow. Listen to his music. Really good, mate. Really, and he's really good. Like super, like not one of those like, I'm doing the music on the side. Like he actually takes it serious. He's got a music video out. Yeah. Gable Gray's in it dancing.
Is he?
Genuine, yeah. I'm looking at it, honestly, really, and it's good tunes as well. I honestly, all his tunes are my favourites on my Spotify. So,
mate, I'm going to find that when we get off. I've got my phone here ready to go. Right, who's got the worst tunes? Who do you regret when you see them go to pick up the aux cord?
I'm probably going to say. The thing is, I would say actually, so Tim Carlo is one of my best mates. His tunes are probably not to everyone's liking, yeah. And I think 9 times out of 10, everyone goes, "What are these?" Yeah, because I'm talking like we've got like old school Christina Aguilera, and like we've got like Destiny's Child, and these are. Thing is, I'm loving these. I think
this sounds like a winner so far, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, like everyone, obviously, when you're in a gym and everyone's like lifting really heavy, yeah, and you've got like "Dirty" by Christina Aguilera. I was like, what? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Unwritten by Natasha Bedingfield adds an extra 10 kilos on your PB.
Exactly, man. What a tune, yeah. But yeah, for some people, I'd probably say him because I love it. But then I can understand why other boys wouldn't. So yeah,
that will be a worst bracket's best tunes. There we go.
Yeah, and he's got a few 80s bangers in there as well, which I love as well. But not many people favour. So maybe it's me and Tim against the world with our tunes.
Mate, I'll send you the playlist I made for the Blokes charity game, because I was very much on that mindset of it's meant to be a pre-game thing, but it's definitely designed for the night out more than it is the pre-game.
Yeah, 100%.
Right, who's the future coach that you've ever played with? Who's the one that you saw and just went, you're definitely going to be a rugby coach for the rest of your life?
Jimmy Gopperth.
Oh, mate, that man breathes rugby.
Yeah, mate, he's an unbelievable player, unbelievable dribbler. I've got a lot of respect for him, obviously, because he had a knee injury himself and he came at a much older age than me, which, all respect to him. But, at that age, it's harder to come back from and be in the same nick and the same shape and have the same ability that you did before. And he did, and he came back not just as good but better than he was before, better nick than he was before, and he understands the game really well. He does a bit of coaching now. He does a kicking clinic. So yeah, mate, 100%. And he even coaches the lads. He has always has something to say or a smart thing to say. Or, mate, like you say,
the on-field general, whatever they used to call them.
Exactly. He lives and breathes it. And he's, what is he now, like 30 something, maybe 40? so yeah, I don't think he's going to get out of the game anytime soon. So yeah, I think Jimmy got it for me.
Who's hard as nails? Who's the person that you just think, I would never fight you?
Either Jack Willis or Tom Willis.
I'm not going to lie. You have to answer who would win out of a fight between.
I'll give this one to Jack.
I love the thought of them seeing this and then just looking at each other like, you see what Cal said in that podcast?
Well, I think Tom will not like the fact that I've picked Jack. But I think if they both had a fight, there'd be an earthquake.
So, yeah. It looks like something like the Avengers.
They're both hard as nails, but I think Jack, he's such a lovely bloke. Such a lovely bloke. Like, both of them, such a lovely bloke, but then they play and they're just vicious. And Jack is he's hard as nails, mate. He is hard.
Obviously, I don't know him as well as you, but from what I've seen, I can tell that he's hard as nails.
He's just some of the things you do, you just think, oh, stop, please, you're going to hurt yourself. And unfortunately, he has done, but he's just, by the way, he's in unbelievable shape at the moment. He looks great, and he will turn better than he was before, I'm sure. So,
I was going to say, how's he getting on? Because I saw the thing Wasp posted. He was looking quite well.
No, from what I've seen of him, and even in the early bits of his rehab when I was around.
Yeah.
And I'm obviously a bit of a connoisseur of
the knee injury.
Yeah, so I obviously kept an eye on it, and you definitely can see a healthy knee or an unhealthy knee, and his knee was the healthiest you can see. It was brilliant. He looked great, and that's a testament to his professionalism.
Well, it's not even that long ago he did it, is it?
Exactly. I know
4 months ago or something.
Yeah, exactly. And those first few weeks are vital to making sure you either have a healthy knee or you don't have a healthy knee. And his looks brilliant, and he looks in great shape. He's worked his arse off in the off season as well. So, mate, he's going to come back in freakish nick, and he'll be a freak, and all the accolades will go to him again. So yeah, good on him.
I know he's very unlucky not to be playing in red this summer. Is the honest truth.
Yeah, I think you're probably right, mate. I think you're probably right.
Right, final couple. Who hogs the mirror most post game? Who's the one that's getting himself all dolled up, ready for a big interview on Sky Sports or BT? Sorry, BT have the rugby.
I'm scared about saying this, but probably Malachi Fekitoa. Because for some reason his hair looks so sharp every time I see him. Like it's sharp as. And that's
like it's one of the boys. One of the LA boys, because I was watching them the other day. It's DTH Van der Merwe. There never seems to be a hair out of place.
Yeah. Same with Malachi, and you think with the hits he puts in, you think his hair would be all over the gaff, but for some reason, and especially after the game, it's like he's put it on like a Ken doll. Do you know what I mean? So,
like a Lego haircut, just popped it on.
Yeah, it's just so sharp, which is a massive compliment. So, yeah, probably him, and he's a good-looking geezer as well. So,
I know, annoyingly handsome bastard.
Yeah.
Right, last one. Who would order a plain sauce at Nando's?
See,
the questions have got a lot better since you did it the first time.
Yeah, this is quite hypocritical because I'm putting this out there. People are gonna hate this. I'm a lemon and herb man at Nando's, so I feel like I can't answer this, and an actual.
No, there's a difference between lemon and herb and plain, like a big difference.
Yeah, I don't even know to eat plain. Probably. Plain.
Just out somebody.
probably Josh Caulfield, because he said to me that they don't have Nando's around Cornwall, and the only time he gets Nando's is in Bristol when we go on away trips. So maybe kind of lemon and herb and like hot or medium is probably too much for him.
Josh,
that was a good answer, I reckon. That was quite diplomatic.
I know, it was very diplomatic. The problem is you've got to go pre-season training with him on Monday.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, I don't think he'd be bothered by the fact that I said he likes playing Nando's. Probably the fact that I said, what did I say before about him?
That he messes with everybody and he's the biggest practical joker.
Yeah, he messes with everybody, because he'd probably come back to me like, I don't mess with everyone. That's the genuine truth. He's like Jake from in between us.
I couldn't do it. I was playing poker with Rio Ferdinand and my dad.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, mate, you have finished. That is officially the teammate / under the team bus section with Callum Sirker. Last question before we go, and it's the one that everybody loves. It's the one that always makes it to the Instagram. You've got 3 cheesy pop songs to get the team ready for a night out. So let's set the scene for you. After your Cornish Pirates debut, 3 tries, man of the match. It's an away day, so you've got a bevy bus all the way back to the sea. You're on the bus. Somebody goes around and goes, right, mate, initiations. You've got 3 songs. What are you playing?
Right, so these are my 3. So I've got How About Us by Champagne.
What a brilliant song.
Yeah. I've got Young Hearts Run Free by Candy Station.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and I've got September, Earth, Wind and Fire, which is obviously, it's going to go on after a win. Yeah. It's going to go on.
Exactly. And then that's a proper sing-along as well, and that's what you want. You want the whole bus singing along.
Oh, yeah. So those are my 3. I think they're pretty strong 3. Correct me if not, but I'm liking them.
It's strong. It's up there. It's not quite Matt Hardy's Carly Rae Jepsen and things like that, but he's doing.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But you're getting there. You're definitely in the top 5. I mean, the listeners do the voting, so I need to make some sort of graphic where I get a poll for who's doing what. I think when we've got 10, we'll make a leaderboard. But
Yeah, happy days. You may have to start putting polls out and see what people think about the songs.
Exactly. Right. Well, mate, you've survived the podcast, and I think we've shaved 40 minutes off the time we did it the first time.
Happy days.
A bit more fluent. Right, let's get the outros done. Let's get all the T's and C's done. Everybody knows. So remember, guys, like I said at the start of the show, thank you to Wild Haggis Protein for being my first ever partner on the Over in 80 Minutes podcast. Like I said, get your pre-workout, get your BCAAs, fat burners. They have a whole clothing range as well, including an exclusive women's range for the gym. Perfect. They've got some fancy, snazzy designs out there. Kind of a bit annoyed they're only made for women, to be honest, because I'd rock a pair of donut leggings because they look quite cool. Over in 80 Minutes to check out. That'll get you 10% off there as well. Definitely make sure you go check them out. They're great. I used them a long time before I made the podcast, so it's not just me saying stuff for the sake of saying it. Like, there's not even any notes to read off, so you know I'm talking the truth. Callum Sirker, where can they find you on social media?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram at CirkerCT and Twitter, Callum_Sirker. And obviously my book page, Forwards and Paperback. I'll be getting going again after a bit of a lengthy layoff through getting ready for law school. So yeah, I'm all on them.
Mate, amazing. They're definitely going to follow you. I've had so much fun doing this again. It was just as fun the second time as it was the first. I hope you've enjoyed it.
Yeah, mate, I've loved it. Thank you so much for having me. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Right, usual, check out everything. All the links are in below. Everything, Forwards, Paperbacks, Wild Haggis Protein are going to be in there. My stuff's going to be in there if you want to follow the podcast on YouTube or Instagram. Keeps you up to date with everything that's going on. What else can we talk about? Blokes. Blokes is going to be in there as well. Make sure you follow Blokes. Good young men's mental health group. Always there to talk. The boys are always pretty responsive on their Instagrams. Everything's there. Tom Holmes, top bloke, favourite man of mine. Love him to death. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you watched it on YouTube, if you're going to be mean in the comments, at least make it funny. Then we're going to try to get retweets that way, because I'm going to be really honest. If you're just being negative, I don't give a shit what you have to say. So, right, amazing. See you all later. See you next week. Thank you very much. Bye.